Good morning, students. Today in this video we are going to continue with the chapter Natural Resources. Last day we had studied about the two types of resources, which are natural resources and man-made resources, and according to the availability we had seen renewable and non-renewable resources, and we had read about one natural renewable resource, that is air. So let's see today what we have. Today we are going to talk about water. Much of the Earth's surface is covered with water, but most of this water is in the seas and oceans. This water is too salty to drink, and we generally do not use it for our daily needs, like bathing and washing clothes. The water found below the ground, that is groundwater, and in rivers and streams is not salty. It is called fresh water. We use fresh water for most of our needs. So we are going to talk mainly about fresh water. That means the water we use. You know that a lot of the Earth's crust, apart from the landform, 70% of the Earth is covered in water. But all this water cannot be used by us because most of it is present in the seas and oceans, and it is very salty. But there is some form of water that we can use, and this water is known as fresh water. So the water found below the ground or groundwater and in rivers and streams is not salty. This is called fresh water. Okay, previously in the chapter of weather and climate, we had talked about water cycle, and we had seen that some of the water which comes down in the form of rain washes away and seeps under the ground, right? There we had seen groundwater. If you go back to the picture of water cycle, you will find it that there we have the groundwater that is being stored. We use this water, and also water flows into rivers and streams, right? So these waters, these are used by us and known as fresh water. Fresh water comes mainly from rain. When it rains, some rainwater seeps into the ground and the rest flows into water bodies such as rivers and lakes. We sometimes dig tanks, man-made lakes, to collect rainwater for our use. To get water from under the ground, we dig wells and use tube wells or pumps. If used carefully, fresh water is renewable. Careful use means we should not waste water. We should also make arrangements to let rainwater seep into the ground. Now you see just what I said about how fresh water gets collected. Okay, I told you that it comes from rain, and this water gets collected, and sometimes it gets collected naturally in rivers and lakes, and sometimes tanks, man-made lakes, huge. You have seen natural lakes and ponds. Sometimes man also digs out such structures where rainwater can be collected, and we have tube wells. You see here, collected from under the ground. We dig wells and use tube wells. Also we have pumps. The picture here shows pumps. Similar pumps are also used to bring out water from underground. And one more thing is, like in the previous video I had said that plants are natural renewable resources, but we need to use them very carefully, right? Similarly, water is also natural and renewable, but it has to be used carefully. That means we should not waste water. That means suppose you're brushing your teeth. If you when you're brushing your teeth, do you need water to flow out from the tap? You take your brush, you wet it, you brush your teeth, then you wash your mouth. At the time you're brushing your teeth, you don't need water directly, right? So if you keep the tap open, the water is being drained out and it is being wasted. So we need to stop such wastage. When you are brushing your teeth, you close your tap. After you have completed brushing your teeth, you want to wash your mouth, open the tap again and wash your mouth. So you are saving water. There are many other ways we waste water. So what we need to do is, we need to stop wasting water. We need to use it very planned in a very planned manner so that we can stop wastage. India's water resources. Now we are going to talk about this part. In India, groundwater and rivers are the main resources of fresh water. The rivers Ganga and Brahmaputra and their tributaries are the main rivers of the northern plain. Many of these rivers rise in the northern mountains. They get water from rain and are also fed by melting snow from the mountains. See, in this paragraph, we are talking about rivers. We have studied about rivers in details, right? In our last chapter, where we are talking about landforms, we have studied about rivers and their tributaries in details, right? So, India has a lot of groundwater because there are a number of rivers that are flowing in India. So, Ganga, Brahmaputra, Yamuna, these are some of the biggest rivers of India. There are many more. So many of these rivers come from the Himalayan mountains. We have discussed this in details in the chapter of landforms. Okay, natural landforms, India's landforms, we have discussed in details. So, India's water resources, first we get it from the rivers of the northern plains. Which are these rivers? They are Ganga and Brahmaputra and their tributaries. Next, the Narmada, Tapi, Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri and their tributaries are the main rivers of the plateau region. These rivers get water from rain. Okay, so remember that India has various physical landforms. We have the northern plains. The northern plain region gets its water from the mountains which get water from the melting snow. Okay, so Ganga, Brahmaputra and their tributaries get their water from melting snow. But Narmada, Tapi, Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri and their tributaries which flow in the plateau region get their water from rain. Okay, so these rivers are perennial rivers. They flow throughout the year. These rivers are seasonal rivers. That means when there is more rain, the rivers have more water, but in the summer season, when it's too hot, when there is not much rain or there is no rain at all, these rivers have very less water. We use rivers to supply water to our towns and cities, to water our fields, to fish, to transport people and goods, etc. For some uses, we build dams across rivers. A dam is a thick, high wall that controls the flow of water. Dams are used to store water behind them, to control floods and to help generate electricity. Dams have been built on many Indian rivers. Bhakra Dam on the Satluj, Hirakud Dam on the Mahanadi and Mittur Dam on the Kaveri are examples. So you see, this part talks about dams. This picture shows a dam. Okay, so a river is flowing. A wall kind of structure is built. Okay, and what happens is the water keeps collecting here. The water cannot flow. So in this portion, the water keeps collecting and kind of lake is formed. Okay. And when necessary, when there is rainfall, when there is too much water, water is left out and then the water flows. Okay. Some water flows and much of it is collected. So we use rivers to supply water to our towns and cities, water our fields, to fish, to transport people and goods and etc. And we build dams across rivers. What is a dam? A dam is a thick, high wall that controls the flow of water. And what are they used for? Dams are used to store water, like I told you in this diagrammatic description. Sorry for the drawing because I can't draw a better picture in this little space. Okay, so I hope it's clear to you. You can also search out different pictures from Google. You can understand better. And they also help to control floods and generate electricity. And some of the important examples are Bhakra Dam, Hirakud Dam, Mahanadi, Hirakud Dam and Mittur Dam. Okay, so Bhakra is on Satluj, Hirakud is on Mahanadi, Mittur is on Kaveri. These are the dams. Electricity generated with the help of water is called hydroelectricity. Okay, this is important. What is hydroelectricity? Electricity generated with the help of water. That means there is a kind of machine called a turbine, and water flows out in speed and it rotates that turbine, which helps generate electricity. Now let's talk about soil. Soil is the topmost layer of the land on the earth. It has many uses. Most plants, including our crops, grow on it. It not only supports plants, it supports our buildings too. The fine space in the soil and the layers of rocks below act as filter for the water that seeps underground. So you see, soil is the top layer of the land. Again, we have talked about soil. We have studied about soil in an early chapter. Okay, where we were talking about our earth. In that chapter, we have talked about soil and how it is useful. So soil is the topmost layer. It is helpful for growing plants, crops. Okay. And we use soil. That soil helps us to support our building structures. Then the fine spaces, the air pockets. Okay. There are some pockets, gaps, and layers of rocks below the soil, and this helps to filter the water that seeps into the ground. So the underground water that we get is filtered by the soil. Soil is formed when rocks are broken down to a fine powder over a long period of time, so it is not easily renewable. The roots of plants hold the soil and do not let it get blown away by the wind or washed away by water. So we should not cut too many trees in an area. We should also not let the soil get polluted by garbage and chemicals. Now you see soil, how it is formed. Soil is formed by breaking of rocks, and which forms fine powder. Okay, so with a long period of time, with the exposure of wind, water, rain, these rocks break down into fine powder to form soil. And soil is not easily renewable. Okay, because it takes long time to form, millions of years. So it is not easily renewable. And so also, and one more thing is, plants helps to keep the soil in place. It does not let the soil be blown away. So in a place where there is no plant, the wind, water, it will wash away the soil. But in a place where there are many plants, it will help us to hold the soil from getting washed away. So cutting trees is also harmful. Okay, so too many trees should not be cut. And also we should we should not let soil get polluted by garbage and chemicals. Soil of India. There are many kinds of soil. The 6 main types of soil found in India are alluvial, brought by rivers, black soil, red soil, laterite soil, mountain soil, and desert soil. Alluvial soil is good for growing crops, black soil is good for growing cotton, and mountain soil can support fruits. Red soil, laterite soil, and desert soil are not very fertile. So you see, in this part we are talking about the various types of soil. See this map here. Okay, the key of the map shows us the different types of soil. Alluvial soil, red soil, black soil, laterite soil, desert soil, mountain soil. Okay, these are the types of soil which are found in the different regions. Okay, according to the landforms. In that chapter of India's landforms, remember that chapter. That chapter is very important. I told you earlier, right? So that chapter also, you see similarity in the desert region. See, Rajasthan was the desert region, right? So desert soil, mountain, Himalayan mountain region, mountain soil. Okay, plain areas, alluvial soil, right? We have read about alluvial soil. So the kinds of soil, there are 6 main types of soil. What are they? They are alluvial soil, black soil, red soil, laterite soil, mountain soil, and desert soil. Out of this, alluvial soil is very useful in growing food crops. Black soil is useful for growing cotton, and mountain soil. Okay, mountain soil can help support. Mountain soil can support fruit trees. Okay, red soil, laterite soil, and desert soil are not very fertile. So these 3 types of soil are not very fertile. So this is the end of this video. Okay, I will be concluding here today. I'll be continuing the rest of the chapter in the next video. This is again another important chapter like the chapter of landforms. Okay, so this part of soil is very important. Go through this part. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask me. So that's all for today. Thank you and bye.